morning, everyone, and welcome to American Scouser's Morning Coffee or Tea with American Scouser on a Monday morning where we have Grumpy in all his glory. Only Grumpy because I'm still kind of sick, thanks to Angie, who thought it was a great idea to get sick and then just spread the germs around the household.
Yes. Classic Angie deciding that she wanted to get sick.
Yes.
Yes. That's all. When I think Angie, I think, selfish sick person. That's all I think.
Well, you'd be damn right. You would be damn right. And not only that, it's like, you know what? One of the rare times when she's like, marriage is all about sharing. So it just goes around, spreads the germs, and I am getting sick, or maybe I got away with it. I don't know yet. I'm in the beginning stages. The voice is leaving.
You sound just as bad as every week. So I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, see, she says thank you because that's how you should remember her. Alan is with us this morning. Serzi, good morning, everybody. Otherwise, how was your weekend? Good weekend overall. Good sporting weekend for me, at least.
Yeah, it was a good weekend. If people that watch this show, they know that I have to work on Saturdays. So the worst part about being in the Champions League is that we've got more Saturday fixtures, so I don't get to watch those games live. So I usually watch the game at night or whenever there's time. So I watched that, and then I went to the Bears game yesterday. So all in all, it was a decent sporting weekend. Yeah.
The Bears, who did they play again yesterday?
They played
Rams, right?
The Los Angeles Rams.
Out of curiosity, does Matush ever age? That's
the nicest
Maryland.
That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me, and I hope Michelle's listening. I hope she's fucking listening.
We all know she doesn't watch. That's how we can just talk behind her in comfort over here. And not as much with Angie. You sound great. I don't know about that. It is like this morning I was like, like it's not like Angie's gonna be like, oh damn. I'm like, my voice is kind of like leaving. She was like, oh. It's like sucks to be.
Oh no. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So I will struggle through this. I haven't had drank so much orange juice in my life trying to load up on vitamin C. But yes. Wait, what? Tomorrow is International Coffee Day. Who's coming up with these goddamn days, by the way? The other day, I swear, dude, everybody posted about a Daughter's Day. But I was like, I thought it was 2-3 months ago. Like, has it been a year? Time flies or what? And then 2 days later, it was National Sons Day. Maybe all these days back in my day.
Back in my day, we didn't have days. We just had this thing called life.
Yeah, I mean, it was like just like a regular, you had set days, freaking like Valentine's Day, crap like that. And then you didn't have all these like weird days. But International Coffee Day must be observed. I will make an exception for the International Coffee Day.
Oh, well, I'm going to tell your daughters that you were willing to make an exception for coffee, but not for them.
Ryan says he's boycotting the Bears like a good English fan until the McCaskies sell the team. It's the Bears.
Dude,
I really don't like the Bears. Sorry.
I'm not that much into a vested. I don't have that much of a vested interest in the Bears. I will say that they are my favorite football team because I grew up a couple hours away from Chicago. So I think naturally it's easy to be a fan of the Bears. And if I get tickets paid for and someone's like, "Hey, come to the game," I'm not going to say no. So I'm not fully in like, hey, McCaskies need to sell. But I'm also like, they've got a decent team. They just need an offensive line. But that's what they've been saying for the last decade. So
I was going to say, I've heard that before. Maybe it's the typical fan base, but I just get the same thing. Maybe it's a typical NFL fan base. But obviously I was, being in Chicago, you're exposed to more Bears fans like that, where every season, like before the season kicks off, they're winning the Super Bowl. 2 weeks in, everybody sucks. 5th week, everything is great again. It's just like too much of a roller coaster, and it doesn't seem like anybody actually looks at the big picture. But maybe that's the typical fan base. I just get exposed to the Bears a lot more.
And I feel like I have to say that Bears fans' pettiness is like levels above other fans' pettiness. After the game, mind you, this was a game against the Los Angeles Rams, right? They beat this team. We're walking out of the stadium, and every few seconds you get chants of Green Bay sucks. And like, dude, they're living in your head rent free then. You didn't even play Green Bay today. It's like, imagine Liverpool supporters walking out of Anfield after they had just beaten let's say maybe Brighton, and then them chanting about how Everton and United suck, like constantly over and over again, and it doesn't make sense. It's funny.
Yes. The 49, at least they made the easy work yesterday, but it looked like we could put together a team and beat the Patriots too. Fenerbahce squeak one in, and Liverpool squeaks one in on Saturday. What did you make of that game?
Yeah, it wasn't the best. It was scrappy. I feel like Wolves matches for the last several years have kind of gone that way. You know, we haven't had, even under Klopp, there were some moments that were tough against Wolves. And anytime you go to the Molineux, I think, you know, ultimately they're always up for it there. And I think the crowd's really great at Molineux. So I didn't quite expect it to be like a 3-0, 4-0 drubbing. I thought it would be close. Now, I felt like Liverpool was in control for most of the game, even though it didn't feel like it per se, but it didn't feel like it was out of control. Yeah. But after that goal, after Wolves scored, after Ryan Aitner scored, it got a little weird for a moment because you thought like it should be like 3-1 at this point anyway. So the fact that it was 1-1 was a bit nervy, but then obviously, you know, you get the penalty, you have Salah take the penalty and everything's good. But yeah, I didn't think I was as confident going into that game as some people were, even though they were last place in the league. That doesn't really mean much.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan says I'm perfectly okay with our ugly wins. I mean, I guess this is like fandom, right? Because in the morning, when freaking Arsenal pulled it off in the last minutes in the dying ends of the game against Leicester, I was like, damn, man, that's not a good sign when they can win 3 points like that. And then when we win it, it's like, wow. So it's like kind of
we're winning the league. Arsenal's not.
Yeah. So it was more like, yeah, it should. I mean, to be fair, it was comfortable. The goal is kind of our own doing.
Yeah.
Who are you giving credits on that goal to?
Ooh, is this one of your famous pies?
Yes, let's make a pie.
So
you know the fun thing is I don't even like pies that much, but I make a lot of them on American Scouser. I'm not a baker in real life, but I play one on American Scouser.
We should have a bake-off. We should definitely have a bake-off.
We should have a bake-off. We should do American Scouser version of Chopped. Doesn't like Ryan have like access to like a restaurant or something like that? We can just do
but
an American Scouser Chopped.
We will. It'll be behind closed doors. We will not be a live streamed event, only because if anything does go wrong, like I burned down the kitchen, there's no proof right away, so we could save ourselves a little bit of time. But I think as far as the pie goes, you know what, this might be a little surprising, but being a keeper myself, I feel like Ali should get more of the blame than Konate has been, only because I don't think Ali was being vocal. I think they were both in a situation like, all right, well, the other one's going to take care of it without actually saying it. And at that point, it's down to the keeper. The keeper has to be the one that's most vocal. He is the one that sees the entirety of the pitch. He is the one that is most most in tune with where everyone else is on the pitch, if you will. And so he can see that threat coming in from behind Konate. He should be the one that's yelling something out. I know where Ali's coming from, the frustration with Konate just not booting it out. But what is he supposed to do when he doesn't say anything?
So you didn't make the pie, though.
100%. It's the entire thing. Okay, you're right. Okay, so let's go. 55 Ali.
Really?
35 Konate.
And there's nothing left. You waited like there's like a third.
And 10 for Sobo for losing the ball so easily and not getting it back.
For just being there.
For just fucking being there. Damn it. No, but I mean, honestly, like 65-35 is probably where I'm at.
So you put 65 to like I kind of reversed that. I put 65 to Konate. I know what Konate is doing, and you do expect Alisson to come out there. But man, you turn around and he's not coming, you clear. And how many times you clear and then they go, well, you know what? You should have come down, bro, because it's not gonna be on me. I'm just gonna clear it. We'll defend the corner and go from there, kind of a deal. Because he could have easily like tapped it to the corner or like skied it away or whatever he wanted to do. It just has to. Ali should be coming out for that and calling out for that and making really Konate's life a lot easier. But at the same time, you don't see him coming. You don't keep waiting for the goalie. Let's put it that way. You just kind of clear it out. But yeah, Ali should have got. And Ali, if you notice, after the goal, whoa, the sun's out.
It's coming for me.
Guns out. 65 says Silence Posho Kanate 35. I'll go with that. And Cersei blames. I blame Mane personally, 100%. What did you make of like the performances overall? Like anything that sticks out, good or bad?
Gravenberch has been great. I think that's the continued trend. But I want to pump the brakes a little bit because last year there was a time, when we got that midfield renaissance, if you will, where the first 6 weeks Sobo looked like the best player in the world, right? And then 6 weeks after that, McAllister looked like one of the best players in the world. And then Endo had a stretch where he was absolutely fantastic. So I'm really excited to see how well Gravenberch is playing, but also at the same time wanted to sort of temper expectations just a tad so that, in a couple months, let's say, if there's a little bit of a let off, we look back and go, you know what? He's 22. He's getting the hang of it still. This was a position that we thought needed to be filled, and it didn't. So, maybe he saved us some money, but overall, and now I'm really blurry, so I don't know what to tell you. But it's my points aren't making sense.
Where is the butler when you need it? Yeah.
My computer's like, this guy. Okay, now he's making some sense again. So we're going to put him into focus. But yeah,
if mine was like that, you would never see me. It would be just like like an ice glass.
One of those, perfect ice glass effect. That's the perfect explanation. Just overall, I think everyone was fine. There wasn't a standout game specifically. I think Konate maybe has a shot for man of the match. Obviously, that goal against hurts a bit. But yeah, it's one of those things where there wasn't anyone that played necessarily great, but there wasn't anyone that was awful. I think Mo was kind of bad. At least on the ball, his defensive work rate was pretty good. But that's like stuff you won't really see in the people will post highlight videos from the game, like every touch of Gravenberch, every Mo touch, but they won't show highlights of every defensive track back and stuff like that. So I think defensively he got back, which was good, but I think he was pretty wasteful. I don't know.
A lot of balls, right? Like normal Mo pass would get something going and we could have probably scored a couple more, and they were all like too fast, too slow, wrong guy and stuff like that. And then one time this is the thing about the attackers coming back, he tracked back all the way to the corner, and I was like, damn, look at that, Mo is winning the ball over there. But then you're like, yes, this is why you don't really want attackers back there a lot, because you're like, dude, just get that out of here. What are you doing over there? Right. Just like trying to make something in that corner over there and lost it. But this is a good point right here. Sobo got praised for scoring goals, Gardenberg getting praised for winning balls. That's why I feel like it's a bit more reliable to keep going. I think everybody fell in love with Szoboszlai in the beginning because, we all love a guy who can crack a shots, like from outside the box and score goals and stuff like that. And he looked like kind of silky smooth on the ball and stuff. It was always on the ball stuff, whereas I feel like Gravenberg's performance is a bit more sustainable, mainly because of his position and what he has to do. But I'm still actually lost. I'm glad he brought Szoboszlai and Mo as well. But the thing with Mo is I feel like we don't have a lot of people who can do what Mo does in the grand scheme of things. He's the main focus, and even when he's not connecting, you kind of need that presence. He is the presence up there. But with Szoboszlai, I can't really say the same thing. And despite being extremely poor, I don't understand the persistence of like keeping him on there. And I'm one of the rare guys who appreciates his defensive work rate. But man, on the ball, you can't tell me that like Jones can't give you the same defensive work rates and maybe be a bit more positive going forward.
Yeah, but maybe Slot doesn't believe in Jones's defensive work rate as much as we want to believe in Jones's defensive work rate.
That's fair.
I think it's possible. I definitely think that he has it in him. That's the only thing that I can think of, because overall, yeah, Jones, especially what we've seen and against West Ham too, like on the ball, Jones in just the 20 minutes or whatever that we saw, or at least that I saw, it was already better than most of what we've seen from Sobo for a couple games. But it has to be something work rate related, something stamina. Because I mean, Sobo can run for days, and that's I think something that Slot does like. I think Sobo's really unlucky to not have that goal. I think he connected with that tap in so well. If it was if it had hit him like on the studs or on the shin, it was better off that way. I think the ball would have gone in than just having perfect contact on it, because that's exactly where Johnson was going. But yeah, it's interesting to see why things aren't working right now for Sobo, because it is translated to the national team too. Before we were like, hey, he's got a different role in the national team. He's in control of everything. He's sort of their 10, if you will, in the sense of has to be everywhere on the pitch. And so maybe that's why it wasn't working so well, because he's trying to find his feet. And now it's like, well, even at Hungary, it's not going so well right now. And I'm not sure exactly what it is that needs to be done.
And I figured, he would thrive more because, like you say, in Hungary, he is the focus. So if you're a defending team, you're like, that's the guy we got to stop. Similar to what people mostly do with Mo, like you got to stop his outlets and stuff like that. But that's why I thought he would thrive a bit more, where he will have more space because there are a lot of other great players around him getting attention. So he's not the main focus. He's probably, I don't know, like the third, fourth guy people are worrying about. So I figured that would help him. But see, I don't agree with nothing, because I do think he does a lot of work defensively, a lot. And like you said, running. And I don't know if you saw him coming out. And I was begging for him to come out. We can talk about the subs and why they came so late as well, I guess. But he was not happy at all. But I assume he knows he sucked and he was not happy with how, there are games like that where God, man, nothing is going, not one pass is going where I want it to go and stuff. But there are games like that. And he looked like a guy coming off saying, God damn, man, what a rough day, as opposed to, I hope to God he wasn't irked he's being taken out, because the writing was on the wall.
Yeah, I think just in general, I think players don't like to come out anyway, regardless whether or not they thought they had a good game or not. People want to stay on the pitch. So I think I think most of it maybe comes down to him being frustrated at the game he had, and then some of it just being coming off in general, because it's one of those, especially when I feel like maybe as a player, when you're thinking you're playing against this side that is last in the league, and in your head you're already thinking of all the chances that you might be able to get, and then you have an extra 15 or so minutes or whatever you can to get another chance. You want that chance. Maybe there's that part of it, but yeah, I think just in general, just no one wants to come out. I think that was part of the frustration.
Could be. Like I said, it just felt like a guy who knew it was just like a rough day at the office. And then, you could be punching out, but you're still like, God, man, that day sucked, kind of a thing, on your way out, kind of a deal. So it just says he was unhappy because it was out of the place, by the way. It's not enough gel, bad gel. I don't know what that is. Those days are behind me, so I don't worry about those issues as much anymore. So there's sort of the goods, the bad, and the ugly. The good is doing the running. The bad was the bad passes. Ugh, I don't want to hear the ugly. The ugly is coming too, I think, in the comments, that I don't want to, if I want to see the ugly. Yeah, like I say, he gives you so much off the ball, which is great. But I don't know. I always put myself in the shoes of the guy on the sideline looking at him and be like, you telling me I can't do this? I can do this. Right. But maybe then Jones has to come out regularly, show that the person I feel bad for the most is Harvey, because I think Harvey could we know for sure he could do the defensive work, and he would give you I don't know if he would do better offensively, but at least it would be somebody you can say, well, go do your thing now, your turn, kind of a deal. And it kind of sucks that the kid is injured. Ugly is the finishing and some of the decisions he made in game. Yeah, and that's what worries me, I guess. Actually, we should talk about this too, but that's what worries me. When he's coming out, he has that look on his face. To me, it's a guy who knows that things are not going well, and perhaps that's when things compound, when you know that on the pitch and then you're doing some stuff and then that's not working, you're like, and the more frustrated he gets, the worse you do, actually. And that reminds me, I don't know if you saw the video with the guys getting their FC 25 ratings and stuff like that. Did you hear Nunez talking about that he was on the bench 5 out of the 7 games?
Oh, that was a hilarious moment. because he was.
It was almost sad. It's just like a guy who never gets picked to play in a pickup game. He's like,
I don't know. I saw it as like he is able to laugh at himself a bit, because I think the mood between the three players would have been a lot different depending on how he said that. And I think Darwin, he was just genuinely a bit confused at the beginning because he thought that those stats were taken from this season. That's why he was like, I've been.
And that says a lot about Nunez by himself.
So, well, yeah, I mean, he's just not a gamer, man. He's just not a gamer. But yeah, it was, I could see a bit of the sadness, but I could also see him sort of taking a joke at himself, and just, a bit tongue in cheek. But were you going to bring up the Sobo getting the ratings thing too, or no?
What part of it? He was all happy about some of the stuff, but then he was.
Oh, I thought maybe there was something. I think someone was.
What was the rating that he was? Oh, he was talking about the speed a lot. There was a lot of.
Oh yeah. And I mean, I'm genuinely shocked that Chiesa is the quickest guy on the team.
Yes,
that has the most pace on the team. That's absurd to me.
So when we do the co-op, how I'm going to line up.
Oh yeah, so it's going to be. Let me see. You're going to have. What are you going to do? Diaz, Nunez, Salah, Chiesa, Jota, McAllister.
CDM.
Yeah.
No, honestly, having played FC 25 now for 10 days or so, you do need a bit more of a solid midfield, I think, than before.
Oh, like the real sport finally, huh?
It is a bit. I find it a lot harder to score overall, to be honest with you. But here's the thing: there's already people figuring out some of the things in the game. Like I played against this guy yesterday who could somehow do a diagonal from the corner without even looking, like a quick turn, and it would go all the way to the other side, wide open guy. I'm like, how is this even happening? Still beat him, but that's a different story. But yeah, it's just doing Ultimate now. Haven't started the seasons, but I am waiting for you to get the game so we can do some co-op action.
Oh, you are waiting for me.
Dude, we have a title to defend. I mean, we won the title. We have a title to defend.
I should get on that. I apologize.
People demand it, so it has to be done. Mind you, I haven't gotten it for the PC, only on the PlayStation, so we're gonna have to figure that out. But yeah, it's different. I don't know, if anybody is a gamer in the comments, let us know what you think. But I find it different, but it's like this every year, where the first week or so you're like, oh, this is very different, and then after a while it just becomes second nature. You're like, yeah, this is what you do, kind of an ordeal. But yeah, the middle of the pitch, I think, is a bit more important now to have guys who are kind of like a McAllister type is pretty darn valuable. So you might do like McAllister and Gravenberg in the middle like we do and stuff. But anywho, let's go talk about this. I think somebody was talking about Ten Hag earlier. Did you get to watch that game? Oh, no, you were at the Bears game. Did you watch the highlights or anything like that?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I did.
I mean, sadly, you can not sadly, but unfortunately, you can't see United here. But I can scroll down so you can just see them squeaking in at the bottom over there. That does look rough. So a couple of questions over here. So what did you make of that game? Because I felt Fenerbahce was playing half an hour later. So I watched the first 30, went to the Fenerbahce game, came back at halftime, and then went back to the Fenerbahce game, kind of a deal. But I mean, the first 30 minutes, it just looked pretty pathetic in terms of the two teams.
Yeah, I think United were lucky to not lose 6-7-0. I think if it was Son instead of Werner on that left side, my God. Yeah, a Werner and one-on-ones to tell me a better combination in your life. But it's one of those things where it did look very sad. And I think, Garnacho had that chance that hit the post. I think it was just after the 30th minute. It would have tied it up 1-1. I think if that goes in, you have a different game, obviously. But I think so. That's
what Ten Hag was trying to sell. I was like, dude, but judging by the rest of the game, I just feel maybe you will bring the fans back into the game a little bit. But
in my head, I'm thinking of the butterfly effect, where you have Garnacho score, and then 12 minutes later, Bruno doesn't get a red card because the ball is not on that side of the pitch, and then that compounds, right? So that's how I'm thinking of it. The thing that I got from it right away was how annoyed I am still that we didn't sign Van de Ven.
Yeah, I know, right?
I feel like that was something, I don't know, maybe we're missing something. Maybe we're not seeing something that all of these all of these smart, analytical, professional people working for all these clubs see that we don't see. But for some goddamn reason, Van de Ven wasn't a good enough fit for this club at the price that he was. But whatever, let him do whatever he wants to do at Spurs. It is what it is. I don't even know where I was going with that because Mickey was great. That run was amazing.
Oh, Mickey, you're so fine. Yeah, he was. He looks the part, doesn't he? But here's
so
my thing. I guess they could be saying, like, where are you gonna play him?
He's Van Dijk's replacement.
Okay, so he was going to sit behind Van Dijk for the last 2 years?
Ish.
Would he want that?
Probably not.
And that's what I kind of
and that's
it's
we've talked about that all the time. Yeah.
But he might be like, no, like look at me. I'm
could
Mickey.
you
I don't sit on the bench.
Could you not argue that he could possibly have a role on the left side, left back, with the speed he has?
And bench Costas? How dare you? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, honestly, you could do that. I mean, with his speed,
we talked about
probably play left back.
We talked about getting a left-footed center back so you could roll out with Konate, Van Dijk, and Inacio, right? That was kind of what people were talking about.
Like a Gomez kind of work.
This new slot system could have a space to do that. And so I don't think it's crazy to think that it couldn't have happened, or that it wouldn't have worked. But yeah, I get what you're saying. I think I've always been the one that sit here and says, well, you can't just sign someone to sit on the bench if they don't want to sit on the bench, right? And that's part of it. And then you also have to understand that some of these clubs, they have bigger teams for that reason, and some guys are going to have to sit on the bench. But yeah, he's going to be playing 90 for Spurs every week. Then
But yeah, he does definitely. I mean, he fits that system where it's like a really high line. Here's another thing: like we've kind of slightly changed that system. I mean, it's still high, but not as high as freaking like Spurs. Spurs was higher than what we had when Klopp was around. I mean, it's just kind of really ridiculous. So you do need that, and yeah. I do like him on the ball as well, though. So I do think he could have played like left back or something like that. But then again, he's coming to be, why don't you come over and be Robertson and Van Dijk's backup? And he's going to be like, what? Yeah. And then he might have taken over for Robertson or whatever. But I mean, I don't know. Either way, he does definitely look the parts. That was like good to see. What did you make of the red card since you brought it up?
Okay, so the red card.
Because there was some heated discussion.
This will be interesting.
As always on Discord.
So initially, I watched the highlights. I saw it first in real time as it was shown on the pitch, and I was confused. I was like, "Red for this?" And then they showed some replays, and I was like, "Okay, I can kind of see that's kind of bad." And then I saw Gary Neville saying it was just, right decision, red card all day. And then I watched Mark.
Let me go take another look.
And then I watched. Yeah, I was gonna say that kind of maybe sit back and go, maybe I was wrong. But then I watched Mark Goldbridge, because if you guys don't watch Mark Goldbridge's highlights from watching games, they're great. I mean, he is a United supporter. He can be kind of annoying during United games. I think he's a closeted Liverpool fan, if I'm being honest. No, but his reactions are great because he seems to be one of the most just level-headed United fans, like kind of understanding who they are right now. And
yeah, he's a homer at times, but half realistic. I mean, I do enjoy like watching not only like his over-the-top reactions. First of all, he says some really funny shit, but I do agree with you. Like he seems a bit more realistic than most.
He can take himself out of that character for a moment and just look at it as the sport. I think it's
partially because he does all that other stuff with like talk sports.
Yeah.
Like that's football and stuff like that. So he's kind of used to the role where he takes himself out. Like, for example, we do the panel show, right? Mm-hmm. But I mean, I'm still there as Liverpool, but you take yourself out a little bit at least. So I can see like if you're doing that consistently, it's a bit easier to kind of like take yourself out and like look at the big picture. But go ahead.
Yeah. And he was like, yeah, straight red, stupid. And I was like, okay. Maybe I'm missing something here because I guess I'm surprised that both of them were so just insistent on, that was the right decision. So I guess for me, I think whatever the decision on the field was going to be the decision that was going to be kept. So whether it was a yellow and then VAR checked for reckless play, it would have just kept it at yellow, or if it was a red and VAR did check it and said, yeah, red's fine, then the call stood, if you will. I think that was what I would have taken from it, because we've seen a couple worse challenges. I think the difference is, and obviously you'll have your take after this too, I think part of the difference in this is it's more so the intent and not the effect or the impact, right? Because you can have two challenges where one ends up really poorly for receiving, for the guy getting attacked, getting tackled, because his foot gets caught underneath something, gets twisted, whatever the case might be, and that looks a lot worse. But the intent wasn't there to destroy the guy's ankle. On this side with Bruno, yeah, it was a clip. It wasn't, it's not like he wasn't going to cut Maddison's leg off, but he did lunge higher than he should have. And that was, I think, when it comes down to it, that's how I'm interpreting it, is as the intent versus the impact.
That's what everybody's been selling me. I understand why it's given us a red. It says it should the whole VAR should or shouldn't conversation. And that's the problem, right? We're going to, and this is why there's this problem, because there's like a inconsistency. But heck, I watched NFL yesterday talk about inconsistent. Like, it was just ridiculous. But I feel like he is falling the other way. He's clearly trying to trip. And I am saying this, and that was my initial thought, that everybody, like you said, that's a clear red. You guys got to be kidding. And I was like, really? Maybe I'm not looking at it right. So I look at it again. I'm like, I'm still not seeing it. Like, I'm still seeing a guy who's falling the other way, who's trying to trip. That's his entire goal, trip. So when you try to trip somebody, I know you kind of go a bit low first, but what does the guy do? The guy lifts his leg because he doesn't want to be tripped. So what do? You kind of slightly keep raising your, I don't know why I'm doing it on the side here, but
bring the camera down. Let's see what you're wearing.
Show some footwork right here of tripping. So like, he kind of like keep raising the foot because he wants to still trip. I don't think there's any intention on going to injure. The studs are not up going to the knee. I just don't understand why it's what it could have been. Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, that if he turned around and punched him, it could have been really bad, but that's not what he did. So why are we discussing what could have happened?
Yeah,
but if the studs are up and makes contact, but the studs are not up and they're not making contact. And I put Bruno in the Mount Rushmore of people I hate in the soccer world. Neymar, I don't know if he's still fucking alive, but he was on the very top, obviously. So if he's not alive, he's
well.
Not.
No, Mount Rushmore, they're all equal. Timothy,
not in my Mount Rushmore. This is the Turkish version. I made my own mountain. But yeah, so I have like Neymar, and he's up there, with Jesus's whiny face, Bruno's rat face. They're all there. So I'm saying this as somebody who despises Bruno. I thought that was harsh. I can see why, and I'm not saying it's definitely not a red. I feel like it was too harsh. And if you watch reactions to that, commentary, whatever, everybody's shocked when the red comes out. Yeah. And that tells me, because sometimes, like something happens and even the commentators like, oh, he could be in trouble here and stuff like that. It wasn't even that. It was like, oh, it's a red kind of a thing. Everybody's reaction was that. To me, that says that was probably not a red. And like, yeah, it says there's so many other bad tackles out there that we've seen with nothing. That is a red. And like the explanations I'm getting of it was up there, it could have been worse and stuff like that. I don't know. It's like, I feel like a lot of the, like Sideline Football Show says, by the way, it is Timuchin. I'd say Timuchin. Yes, I'd say Timuchin, right? Yes. It's Timuchin, actually. I don't know why I say it Americanized, but I have been saying it. So it's like a CH over there. Size Show was asking. I'm not just broadcasting. And what is Timuchin, by the way?
Turkish. What?
Duh.
Can I get a multiple choice? I don't.
No, I mean, like, where does it come from? I thought maybe like you would have run into it. You're like a Polish dude. They have history back there. No, nothing.
Camera's
You're
broke.
Trying to Google it.
Camera's froze.
My stream froze. It's Genghis Khan's first name. Fun fact.
Oh, right, because I made that dictator comparison. Yeah,
Exactly,
you're right.
and that's where I get it from. Now you guys.
How could I forget? I think
how dare you?
I do agree. It was harsh. It was. I'm not saying
See?
it wasn't harsh.
He's already my favorite follower right here. See, people
Oh,
who know, they know.
Sideline, he says that to anyone, so don't worry about it.
Hitting inconsistencies when ex-players and officials are saying these are the fouls that should be called on the pitch and not the Jones type over the fall. I mean, here's the thing, and I'm sure Gally and Bickler will go at this along. I think we were on the same camp with Bickler. I don't know if he's changed his mind after seeing like a bunch of other replays and stuff. But I guess like my biggest thing is the fact that, you know, a lot of United fans are saying it's a red, mainly because one, they're frustrated as fuck with their team. Two, especially recently, they're frustrated as fuck with Bruno. So it's almost like serves them right. That is a red kind of thing. I guarantee you, if they're up 1-0 and Bruno scored earlier or some shit, those United fans are not saying that's a red. They're agreeing with the call purely based on like emotion and where they're at psychologically with this team. I think they're not looking at it, like neutrally, because somebody else, I don't think they would say Bruno has been like their main go-to for blame in the recent weeks, as he should be. I'm not saying like, he shouldn't be, but I think a lot of the United fans were saying red card because it was Bruno and they were already pissed off at the team. So like you see United down there, Fenerbahce plays United after the international break, and we're really hoping with my brother, who's actually a United fan, but still he feels like they're ripe for the picking right now because it is in Kadıköy in Istanbul as well. That Ten Hag is still around, but I have a feeling he's not gonna make it after the international break. Even though I don't know if you saw, he's like, "Nope, I'm not going anywhere. We talked about this. I will not be fired," kind of a thing. What do you make of it?
I guess really quick, just curious. When it comes to your brother, when Man United play Fenerbahce, is he more in support of Fenerbahce than United? I'd imagine so. Or is it
be Fenerbahce? I think like somebody was asking me. I think it's because if Fenerbahce is up there doing something in Europe, that will never ever happen again. So might as well happen when it can, kind of a deal. I think is where we're at with that psychologically. Because I mean, if they're playing in the South, like Liverpool might be there the next year and the year after and stuff. We're never getting back up there again, so might as well win, kind of a deal. But especially right now, he's kind of checked out with. He's a Ten Hag hater as well. I mean, I don't see why. I think we would be if we were United fans. So
yeah, I wish I could have a pulse on the Ten Hag situation, but it's so difficult to predict what's going to happen to a guy who had his owners actively looking to replace him before a cup final, and then he stayed because they won, right? And then they felt like the obligation to him was to let him stay. It's like sort of like, well, now you've overstayed your welcome. We don't know what to do. So, and maybe there just wasn't the right manager that was available for that time. So I think it'll come down to who would be interested to take the job and whether or not he would be there. I think if someone that they're actively considering is available, then I do think that he could be gone by the international break. But if there isn't anyone that they're necessarily that gung-ho about, then I don't see a reason why he would leave. Other than the reasons that we've seen already, right? I mean, because if he hasn't left, it hasn't been sacked for the reasons that we've already seen, then I don't know what else they need to see.
And I think like Ten Hag knows, so he keeps saying the word trophy as many times as possible. So whenever they're like telling me, "Oh, what's this? A trophy?"
Ooh, shiny.
So like he's always like bringing up the trophies because he knows that's the only reason he kept his job. More importantly, I don't even think that's why he kept his job. It's made it easier for them to say we couldn't find anybody else we liked.
Yeah.
So they were like, "What do you mean? Like, why would we get rid of him? Look, shiny trophy," kind of a thing. So I think it just made it easier for them to say, "No, we're sticking with him because he's winning. We're making progress. Look, trophy." And then move on. So now Ten Hag knows that whenever somebody asks him about getting fired, he's like, "Trophies," and he just like keeps talking about that. But yeah, they play Porto and then they play Villa, and I think it's Villa away. So 2 tough games because I think Porto is away as well. But I mean, in terms of like what he is bringing, I'm so lost. and you can kind of see it, and you see the money spent, and his guys out there. I mean, all he's proving to the world, we were talking about this on the panel show, is that if you brought Ajax from the Dutch league to the Premier League, they would not do so well, and they would end up like 7th to 12th.
A mid-table club.
Yeah,
absolutely. I don't know what else to say regarding Mr. Erik ten Hag. I think these next 2 fixtures especially are going to be huge. Part of this is maybe a little bit off topic, but based off what we're seeing regarding United, right? And then if you pull that table up again, and I'm going to try to sort of bring this conversation back to Liverpool in a way, because you have where did it go? I was trying to pull it up. Sorry. I'm just skipping Erik ten Hag at this point altogether because I'm just curious. I just want you to sort of talk about. Clearly, we're at the top of the table, right? When you look at this table and you look at the teams that we haven't played against yet versus the teams that we have played against, I know that aesthetically there have been some really pleasing games. I know that there have been some tougher, rougher games to watch. How do you genuinely feel about this team? Right, because we talked about that 3-0 win against United, what kind of a barometer that would be towards maybe the end of the season when we get a clear picture of how they do. But I don't think we need to get to the end of the season to get a barometer on that. I think we just beat just a middle of the road, middle of the table kind of team, right? I think so. Where do you see this team right now? How confident are you?
You know me, I look at this and I get pissed off of that freaking X in the middle, because if you got even a point out of that game, you'd be so much better off. I mean, we knew going into the season, like the fixture is definitely a lot more, like a lot easier. We were like, oh, Slot is gonna get eased into this, and United away. Look, I know we made it look easy, and I know Tottenham made it look easy. But in most conditions, going away to Old Trafford is really never easy. I mean, Klopp struggled a lot of games over there, right? So that's still a big win. An away win at United is still a big win. But when I look at these standings, I feel like the team that's in the best spot is probably Arsenal. Only because, the games they've played, like they played City, they played Tottenham, which is, like a bigger game for them than it is probably for us. So like the London Derby and stuff like that. So I feel like they're in better shape in terms of fixture. But hey, at the end of the day, you can only play the games that are in front of you. You can only play the games in front of you, and you're on top. It just annoys me because if you're 18, maybe it's good. I would be kind of totally drinking the Kool-Aid if we had 18 points and a 4-point gap kind of a deal. But yeah, like you say, we have not seen a lot of big tests in terms of the opponents. Yeah, you look at that. I mean, you don't come down to 10
forced
to see where we played, right? We didn't play anybody in the top 10.
Correct.
But at the same time, what has always been our struggle, even when Klopp was here, we always lose points. We kept losing points to teams that we shouldn't lose points to at home and stuff like that, away and stuff. So you can't play that game either. And this team gets up a bit more, I feel like, when we go against, better opposition and stuff. Traditionally, at least. We don't know if that'll be different on the Slot. But in the past, we always complain about losing points in games we shouldn't lose points. Apart from the Forest game, obviously. That hasn't happened. One way or the other, you'll be able to get it past. And you have a brand new coach, like Gally says. That's kind of like everybody was like, oh, they're going to drop off. Everybody is shocked that Liverpool is where they are right now, because I don't think anybody was expecting it. And everybody's kind of leaning on what you're saying, that, the fixture has been easy. So the next, I think, bulk of the schedule is going to show us, especially if we finish this one with 3 points. After the international break, you come in. I think we have another month, and then we go to another international break. I think that block is really going to say, and if you notice, even Slot said, this is great and everything, but we're going to, we'll be excited if we are there after 19 games, so like halfway through like Christmas time or whatever. But more actually, like looking at back that again, let me pull that up again.
Because I am drinking all the Kool-Aid. I don't want anyone to think
You
that
are drinking it.
I'm not happy with where we're at. I'm just looking for a clip for the internet, something to piss people off. Like that's what you need sometimes. Usually a little bit of outrage. And what better way to outrage?
Take two.
This club is going to go nowhere. We can't get a result against anyone in the top 10 of the fucking table. This is ridiculous.
You're the manager like Ten Hag. There you go. Clip this, John. But yeah. Gary says more important than the results is how well they're taken to the new tactics. And I think that was my bigger issue. I think initially when we saw the preseason, it's a lot easier for the bench guys to be like, oh yes, I'm buying in because you want in. I think it was a bigger deal to get like people like Van Dijk and Trent and those guys buy into the system. And with all these distractions, I really have called this like a month or so ago when we went to the last international break. I really feel like this international break, some of those, if not all of those contract issues are going to be resolved. And that will be a huge major distraction out of the way for this club. You're not buying it.
I don't know.
This.
I have this weird sinking feeling that Trent's leaving. I don't know. I just call it just looking into shit for no reason and just looking for something when it isn't there. But for some reason, it just feels like Trent is on his way out. And I don't really have anything to back that up other than
that's what I was going to say. Like, what gives you that feeling?
There's certain – I think this is the problem with having cameras on you 24/7 is, and we've talked about this, is you're going to always spot something that doesn't look right. I think some of his attitude, but his attitude was kind of shit last year too, or the year before that, where he's had moments of sulking. And then, I don't know, maybe I'm just reading too much into the team photo. There's a little short video that the team posted today about everyone lining up for the team photo. And Ali's messing around, kind of like he's folding his arms in, and even though he's supposed to be having it at the side. And people are having a laugh, and Trent's like, let's just get this fucking over with. Like, he looks like he's miserable. And so, I don't know. That's literally the only thing.
That's the problem, right? Like, we're reading. And that's why this contract thing should be over, so we don't read into this. Because I know what you're saying. Everything we look at, we're like, see? Yeah. And especially for the media, this is good. I mean, remember like when they used to like post like pictures from the practice? They're like, Mo's not smiling. Mane's not laughing.
Right.
Just like, so like, yeah, you just don't
But Mane left.
To be fair. Yeah. But I mean, that, yeah, I don't know. Gallus says Trent is getting record money. The other two are 50-50. I will be honest. And yeah, you want to get some hate, I'll say it right here. I am not too confident with Trent getting record money because I'm not confident with Trent being a good Trent after he gets record money. Like, does Trent get more money? Like, I mean, I guess it depends on what the record money we're talking about. Since we're not signing a contract per se, so you can afford to give higher wages. I mean, are you making Trent the highest paid player on this team?
He'd have to be at what, 400 a week? What's Mo at, 350?
Something like that. That's Casemiro money. Nobody gets Casemiro money.
Mo is at, sorry, just real. Since we've got the internet here, we want to talk about.
You're asking Jeeves over there. Jeeves?
Oh, remember Jeeves? You want to talk about in dollars or in euros or in pounds? What are we doing?
Turkish liras. Let's do that.
Not an option.
It would be like billions or something like that.
Not an option. It's 467,000 a week. So we're looking at 500 grand a week. I think would be what Trent would be at if it's record money. You answer that. 500K a week.
No.
So you let him leave on a free.
What is he at right now?
240.
I'll give you 350. I'll give you 350, 400.
That's not a record then.
I mean, I guess 400. You bring more up to 400. You get three guys at 400.
Well, okay, so because right now Mo's at 467.
Oh wait, what?
Yeah, Mo is at 467,000 a week. That's what I'm saying. Trent would have to be 500. If he's going to be.
Ask Jeeves still exists. Does it really? That's my ongoing joke for years. I didn't even realize they were still around. I mean, aside from that's probably because the prince owns the domain over here. Jesus, over there.
I am Jeeves, believe it or
Yeah,
not.
just keep watching the site. Put him at 401. Yeah, dude, like the Arsenal Suarez thing. Yeah, I don't know. Like, do you put you don't I mean, this club is not gonna have three people at like 450, 500. I just don't see it. Even though you kind of have to look at when you look at wages, you have to also look at replacement costs, right? So you
Right.
don't want to do say, you're gonna go get another guy out. Even if you give him 300,000, you have to spend like
Well,
60 million to sign him.
Here's your replacement though. Trent doesn't sign for 500,000, but then you have Connor Bradley come in, who's just making 13,000 a week.
It's like 49ers playing Purdy. Yeah, there you go. You
Boom,
can
boom,
spend the money
boom.
somewhere else. Yeah, I don't know. I'm solid. Saidu is not giving more than 300s. Then he's definitely leaving.
I think 300 you can do, unless when you're talking about record contract, you're talking about the duration of the contract as well. Because if you do, let's say,
I can see that saying like, you're Liverpool for life. Kind of deal.
350 for 6 years, because that would add up to a lot. And then it gives you the flexibility of if he needs to leave, you can at least still make some money off of him. Just don't let him leave on a free. Like I think that would be the worst situation. The worst case scenario is that, okay, so the absolute worst case scenario is all three don't re-sign, all three leave on a free. That is the absolute worst case scenario. The next worst case scenario is that, no, I've got nothing else. That would be, no. Everything just sucks. You've got to re-sign Trent if only to at least get some sort of money for him, because that's going to be an absolute disaster. I think of this club. It's going to be so disastrous and such naivety from this club to not get a single dollar for Trent.
I think we give him record money and Mogo, says John. John is just trying to leave some money in the budget so he can sign Gravy for like a 10-year contract or some shit. 7-year deal, the guarantee he becomes the next club captain. And this is where I probably get a lot of hate because I'm probably like the biggest critic of Trent overall. But in terms of importance right now, let me ask you, in terms of importance of those three guys to this team, like when you remove them, the house of cards start coming down. Give me a ranking.
I like when you do this on Wednesdays and Fridays because I don't have to answer.
I do it every day of the week.
I think, oh God, right now, I think Van Dijk is one. Weirdly, I don't know. I think Van Dijk is one.
No, I think that's a given. I think that's one.
And then can we do like a 2A, 2B?
No, because you just don't want to say it. Say it. You just don't want to spit it out and agree with me.
And then Mo, and then Trent.
I think John says Trent first. I still put Mo.
I only put Mo because I am terrified of what that right side looks like without Mo. Even though I've been a critic of Mo in the last couple of years, I think he's had stretches where he's been just dreadful. I think he has matches where he's awful. But as it stands, unless they go out and get someone, there is no one to come in for that right side comfortably right now. You could put Diaz on that right side. You could put Chiesa up there, but that's not necessarily a comfortable fit right now for what we know, for what we've seen. So in the context of who do we have that could be next in line that we feel the most impact from? For me, dropping Van Dijk, you feel the most impact there. The drop off from Mo to the next, whoever it is, was higher than the drop off from Trent to Connor Bradley.
Yeah, but I mean, here's the thing. I mean, when I'm taking them out, it's not like, I mean, Trent, there's no way Van Dijk is not one, man. I'm sorry, but Van Dijk has to be one. I mean, because you take Van Dijk out of this team right now, and I'm not saying like in terms of importance of signing for the future, because obviously the age issue comes into play with Van Dijk.
Right.
Well, I get that, and obviously, especially in Mo's case, he's going to diminish a lot faster, probably than Van Dijk. We talked about this in the past. Van Dijk can adjust his playing style, especially now that we're playing that high and stuff like that, and can give you another like 4 or 5 years, but. You take Van Dijk out of this team, we are shaky, regardless of who you put over there, right? As things are, I know. I mean, Van Dijk to the next, like Van Dijk Konate to Konate Kwanzaa is a bigger drop for me, and is a more drastic and devastating drop than Trent to Connor Bradley.
Yeah, I agree.
And Mo, in terms of Mo, everything goes through Mo. And I agree, like with Gally saying in the comments, he has looked average. There's so many times where it's just like, dude, what the hell? Even Angie was like, oh, he needs to get more rest. And I was like, he did rest. Like, this is his rest.
Yeah.
You know, when we were watching the game this weekend, I just think, you know, everything still goes to him. And if Diaz is doing so well this season, part of the reason is because everything is going through that right side. And that's like the main focus. And then that leaves Diaz wide open. If you're going to isolate somebody, you kind of like isolate him on the left. Yeah. See, like that's what I was going to say. Like, no, I mean, I understand that, like, because of age, that's, you know, the re-signing thing kind of changes.
Yeah.
I'm more talking about you take that guy out and everything just comes crumbling down. Trent is probably the last guy that will make things crumble at right now. But long term, yeah, I get it. 5 years from now, I mean, obviously, you don't want Silmo on the right wing
and
rolling around in a wheelchair.
No. And can I ask, because Alan brings up Ben Doak in the comments, can I ask, what have I not seen that everyone else sees that feels like Ben Doak is already in line to be the next perfect right wing star in the Premier League? I don't get it. We have not seen anything from him. I mean, we've seen some things, but I don't understand this love affair with the kid, that it's based out of nothing. Honestly, I think it's a little bit of hype, and that's it. I don't see it. I don't think he's going to have a future at this club. And if we're going to be serious about a Mo replacement, it's not going to be Ben Doak.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be Ben Doak either. I don't think the club thinks it's Ben Doak. I'll be honest. Ben Doak might be that guy that, you know, he does well somewhere else, and then we sell him for gazillion dollars. I think one thing that we've done, and maybe I know people didn't like it, but it's fucking realistic. There's no point in having a bunch of guys. They're like, oh, look at all this young talent coming through. But if you know, we don't, right? You read, they're like, oh, he's doing great. He's doing great against other kids, right? And these guys see them at practice with the big boys and stuff like that. And I understand they're going to, you know, get older and become big boys or whatever. But at the same time, I kind of like what we've done in terms of saying, like, okay, is this guy ever going to play for us? No. Okay, then get him out of here. And, you know, like, get money for him. And, you know, while you can, and be smart. You can't get money for this guy right now? Let's loan him. Then we'll get money for him. There's no point in keeping these guys around, giving the kids hope and giving us hope. I mean, you know, that's the thing. Like, when somebody is young, I mean, Polish Messi, for example, right? He's going to come, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you can have a guy like Nioni, who I've seen and really like. And I kind of like that, you know, we don't keep seeing him. Because let the guy develop, bring him on when he's ready. Maybe he will never be ready. I mean, like, you know, we're thinking, oh, once he gets physically stronger and stuff like that, he might never get there. I feel like the same way about Morton sometimes. I just don't know if he's going to ever become beefy enough to play there. Like, McAllister's a little dude, but he's a strong dude. And, I mean, Morton has done it in championship. He looked great and stuff like that, which is a really physical league. But he's going to be able to play the same pace and stuff like that. Like, that's a guy that you probably want to take a look at now. If it's not panning out, then you sell and stuff. I kind of have like that. I mean, I agree with the Ben Doak thing. Apart from hype, I haven't seen anything. Like, when we saw Nioni, I was like, man, that looks good. And that looks good on, like, base levels in terms of, like, how fast he moves the ball, like the passes he sees and stuff like that. Not because, oh, look, he's fast, because that shit's, it does not, like, oh, great, he's fast, like a one-trick pony kind of a deal. Bobby Clark is a good example, says Trevor, and I agree with that. That's, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. You can be a really good player,
right,
but not Liverpool caliber. Like, that's gonna force its way to the starting 11 or fuck the 11, like 18 or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's okay. And then Nioni's baby Gravenberg, says John Boydo. You better hope he stays a baby, because I'm telling you, if Nioni starts getting bigger, your boy Gravenberg will be his backup.
But Gravenberg, he's kind of a baby too. He's only 22.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're cousin babies.
And here's another thing. I think that has changed a lot. We were talking about this, I think, I can't remember which show we were talking about. But we were talking about how the age thing has really changed. You won't remember these days, Matush, because you were little. But, you know, like, we used to say 20, 21, oh, young kid and stuff like that. You see, like, dudes coming in like that have to go do like fucking homework for their like sophomore year in high school or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, so they're like 15, 16-year-old kids coming into the game. So what was like young, he's too young, we gotta wait. That has kind of changed now. You make it by 21, 22, 23. Otherwise, I guess you're not making it, buddy. There is not this, oh, his prime is going to be 28, 29 years thing anymore. The prime almost has become 24, 25 because these guys start so much earlier. I mean, I don't know why that is. Like scouting, they're investing more because there's more money in them, like developing young guys and like selling them or whatever. But I feel like that age has gone back at least 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, and maybe part of it as well is just the growing size of these clubs, and sort of, I think we talked about it maybe last week or 2 weeks ago, where the leagues are becoming very top heavy. Yeah. And so when you can afford to have a certain academy with a certain amount of guys and you have enough fixtures where you get to see these guys in real time, it can afford you to send out a couple 16, 17, 18-year-olds if you have them. Whereas before, you had 15, 18 guys on a team and there really wasn't much room after that, right? You had to make do with what you had. So I think that the growth of the academy and the growth of the bigger clubs having more players and just being able to throw money at like Leicester City for a couple million to bring in a 15-year-old or a 14-year-old or whatever the case might be. I think that's changed it a bit.
Yeah, I mean, Sideline Floor Show says it has evolved development methods. I think it's basically more investments in there to get that better, because I think the value is there now, because you can dump 10 million in there, but then you sell one guy for like 15, 20 and it pays for itself for another like decade or so. And then you kind of like keep bringing up more. I think teams look at, teams like Porto and Ajax and stuff like that. They're like, why can't we do this? Like, instead of giving these guys like 80, 90 million a pop, why can't we do this? And that's why I hope that, we buy this other satellite club and stuff like that as well, because that gives you another avenue to send these young kids to play. You loan yourself players and stuff like that. But it's Monday. You're off because you work Saturdays. So what's the game plan? Who's getting groomed? It's grooming day at the
no, last week was grooming. Today is nothing.
Nobody was getting groomed. Wasn't Michelle taking you somewhere last week that you weren't even aware of?
She's taking me out back to put me out of my misery. No.
You're still packing, by the way. How is that coming?
Oh, that's what. Yeah, no, that's what we're doing. It's going okay. It really is. I think I'm going to tell you guys this. I learned this at a very, very young age of 31 just now.
Young wisdom.
It is really nice to just slowly pack away boxes at a time and just take care of little pieces bit by bit. So then when everything comes at the end of the day to make that big move, it's going to be that much easier. And I don't think that's anything anyone didn't know. Advice? Yeah, obviously, I think many people knew this, but this was a good process.
You know what that means? You own a lot of shit that you don't really need.
Oh, yeah.
Because you were able to pack away stuff and you don't even need those boxes. You're still living your life with those boxes.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But also, there's a part in this, for example, like last year we got married. We had our wedding shower and all that stuff. Many people were very nice and very generous.
40 days and 40 nights, people at exotic locations around the world.
Yeah, exactly. That's
married, by the way. Okay, sorry, go ahead. People might not have seen it on the papers, but yes, it was quite the
festival. If you want to see the details, you just message us. We'll let you know. And we received a lot of nice gifts, and we haven't opened any of them because Michelle was always like, yeah, when we move into our new home, we're going to open up all of this stuff and sort of have like brand new appliances, brand new things to use, this and that.
Oh, okay.
And whereas, because a lot of stuff that we're using in the house now is stuff that we're using, we don't need anything extra. If we needed something that we opened it. But if anything, a lot of the stuff that we're packing away, stuff that we just haven't opened yet because we're saving it for the new house.
Okay. Be honest with me.
Yes.
Is she constantly slapping your hand every time you reach for one of those things? Like, is there a really nice coffee maker over there that you don't have access to right now, and you're still using the old coffee maker for the morning coffee show?
There is, but I've gotten over that. The thing that's really killing me are this Japanese knife set that we got. and we've been using these dull ass
I hope
fucking
John
knives.
clips this. The thing I'm really excited about is this knife sets and Michelle's insurance policy.
Actually, no, we haven't changed. I'm not a beneficiary on that yet. Maybe I should change that. But yeah, or she should change that, I should say. But wink, wink.
She should really upgrade hers.
But yes, the knife set I've been really looking forward to using because our knives are dull as hell, and we're using these like shitty plastic colored coordinated cutting. They're not even cutting boards. They're just this flimsy thing that slides all over the countertop unless you put a piece of like a wet paper towel underneath it. We've got this lovely wooden cutting board, like all this stuff. So that's a big thing. And then a lot of clothes that we're donating a ton of clothes because we don't need them. And yeah, we have a lot of stuff we don't need, but a lot of stuff is more so decor too. So that and so when people come in or when we start staging, we don't have to worry about all that stuff.
Gotcha. Well, you guys enjoy packing up, so when the move comes, I mean, yeah, definitely packing up earlier makes it. So you enjoy your day packing up. I'll get to some work, but I'll be back in action tonight with the boys, Gally and Bickler, 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. We'll have our weekly Monday podcast. Those boys should be recording the Premier League show as well. I'm sure they'll talk a lot about the stuff that we talked about. And tomorrow night, obviously, we have the panel show. I'm sure there'll be a lot of like United talk and Chelsea talk and the red cards and all that kind of stuff. But for now, have an excellent start to your week. And then I'll see you guys tonight. Hopefully my voice will still be here. If not, we'll just listen to Gally and Bickler talk all night. So you guys take care, and we'll see you guys soon.